Hello, my name is Kaylee Malloy and this is my special education media clip. Some of the history of special education that we've learned throughout the semester. Special education started and was made mandatory in 1975 through the Education for All Handicap and Children Act. This act was then strengthened by the IDEA, which supported federal funding. This gave free education for students with disabilities and the use of IEP, which is the Individual Education Program, and this set just like a placement with the family and schools with the needs of each individual student and gave general education. And then we talk about what is the universal design for learning and inclusion. This is basically the concept that ensures that all students understand and can process the learning in the classroom. Teachers should know the students' needs in order to accommodate for them in the classroom. This meaning that they can change the content and what is being taught throughout the curriculum and lessons plans. Incorporated could be learning stations, task cards. I noticed through volunteering that interviewing the students at the beginning of the year is a great way to learn the wants and needs of the student. So then you make that student teacher relationship. You can also do different things to target different sensories, journaling, literature circles, as well as just setting goals for students to help with behavior. Here is the type of exceptional students that are included. This is ADHD disorders, emotional and behavior disorders, specific learning disabilities, intellectual and development disorders, traumatic brain injury and hearing loss, and speech and language disorders. So these are just a few of the ones that we've learned throughout the semester, and these are the ones that I'm going to take a look at and then see what we can incorporate in the classroom and what are good ideas for certain instruction that can help these children learn. So the first one is going to be the attention deficit and attention deficit hyperactive disorder. This is a disorder that's actually a neurobehavioral disorder that's found in kids, teens, and adults. It is more common that boys have this disorder, but girls obviously do as well. And they're usually diagnosed at the earliest age of about 7 years old it takes. And then, like I said, it can be misdiagnosed for a long period of time for an adult to finally be diagnosed with it as well. There's 3 types of ADHD. There's the inattentive, there's the hyperactive, and then there's the combined type. Researchers and scientists do not know the specific cause of ADHD. There's many factors that they believe play a role in it. This could include a chemical imbalance in the brain with these children. It could be hereditary, and then they also say that they've done studies for the lifestyle of children, teens, and adults that lack nutrition or are using electronics and technology a lot, could play a big role in the way that they are now learning and being able to pay attention. Symptoms of this are that this child cannot sit still for a long period of time. They don't really care to do their work. They're not organized. They lack focus for a long period of time. They make a lot of outbursts, which then cause bad behavior and poor judgment, meaning that they don't think before they do something, and they're very impatient. So some of the ways that I believe that in a classroom you could change kind of the way of thinking for these type of students is to use behavior rewards and takeaways. This meaning using an object like a token or a card or something where a student is rewarded behavior and given the object and is then getting it taken away when they have poor behavior to kind of teach them the proper way to behave in the classroom. I think it's also important for that the lessons to incorporate breaks. Brain breaks are a great idea for these type of students to be able to get up in between subjects or in between assignments and be able to get up and stretch, move around, run around for a second, talk, do whatever they can do, because again, these type of students cannot sit still for a while and concentrate on a task for a long period of time. Creating less distractions in the classroom. Materials that are used can be put away so that they're not distracted to touch or look at something, and the seating chart around making sure that they're not distracted by that as well. Free time and group work is a great thing. Doing centers, I think, would be an awesome thing where you have stations set up for different activities of learning. That way they're getting up, they're moving around, they're interacting, and they'll be able to get a little bit of energy out there. And then a behavioral plan committed between you, the student, and the family to ensure that every week you see the strengths and weaknesses of their behavior. And then the next one is going to be emotional and behavior disorders. This is also known as emotional disturbances, which is what the IDEA categorizes it as. And these are students that cannot build relationships, they cannot learn, even with intellectual, sensory, and health factors, don't explain why. They have behavior problems and tend to be depressed. They just prevent them from succeeding in school. And with behavior disorders, they're not considered autism or schizophrenia or depression. They're more so a struggle with behavior itself that can put other students in danger or that student. So there's two types of behavior disorders, and they are conduct disorder, which is bad behavior that is violent and aggressive and can willingly to hurt other classmates or themselves. And there's the oppositional disorder, which is less violent, more so that they just do not listen to anything that is being told. Psychological disorders are also included in this type of disorder. Anxiety, bipolar, OCD, those can all be symptoms of that as well, but those are obviously treated separately. And instruction for emotional and behavior disorders can include routines. Routines is a big one where they're able to doing the same thing every single day, so they're aware and there's no changes that could disrupt their emotional or behavior disorders, making them have responsibilities, maybe a task every day, a job, a to-do, makes them in charge and makes them wanting to be responsible. And journaling is a great thing because it can definitely make an outlet for their emotions to go when they're feeling a certain way throughout the day. It kind of gives them some free time to expand and think and really get into it. And then having positive behavior charts as well. The behavior charts will help to see how they are working and what they need to focus on throughout the day. Then there is specific learning disabilities. These disabilities are just inadequate development of specific academics, such as language and speech skills. This could include, the biggest one that I've seen is dyslexia, which is a problem with reading and writing and spelling, reading and spelling. And then the other two are the children that have struggles with writing, comprehending, and putting sentences together, numbers, or math reasoning skills. And the reason to find this out is low academic skills and scores, and you can take a look and see what a child is comprehending, and then kind of go into more observing and interviewing, getting the family history and school reports on this child to see if there's an underlying issue. I think this can also cause the student to have anxiety, not want to go to school, not want to learn, not have the confidence, hide, be very shy and reserved because they don't understand and are embarrassed by that. So some ways to work with students that have these specific learning disorders, utilize the technology that's given in the classroom is very important. That way that the student can visualize, hear, and work differently with games in different ways to see the words or see the math problem instead of just giving a assignment of a worksheet every single day. Use flexible scheduling with the lessons plans. This will allow extra time for the student who doesn't understand or cannot comprehend the words or something like that. They will be less stressed if they have more time. And then use parental resources to help out as well. Send home things, have games available that you can send and create games online that the students can play that'll make it fun and not frustrating for them. Let's see. Then we have intellectual and development disorders. These disorders are presented at birth and they negatively affect the person's physical, intellectual, and emotional development. They can't learn very well. They have a problem solving. They have adaptive behavior and everyday social skills they lack in. This is systems in the body that are affected. So again, it's from birth and it's in the body. The nervous system can be affected by brain functions and the spinal cord, which include autism and Down syndrome, sensory problems such as eyesight and hearing, and metabolism where they can't break down food or get energy, like congenital hyperthyroid disorder. So these kind of things, again, are from birth and are presented in the body. Some of the ways that we could help this is to not overwhelm the students, be a role model behavior of what's to be expected. Don't overwhelm, so allow more time for these students as well. These are developmental disorders, so they have trouble. They might learn a little bit slower. Use sensory objects for materials. So again, like I said, like centers and interactive learning would be great to use things that you can touch, feel, and they have different touches, different smells, different colors, things like that. So then the person can kind of be creative with that. And then literature circles would be great because again, it's just an interactive way for everybody to kind of be able to learn together. And then have the correct materials in the classroom, such as the wheelchairs, sound machines, ramps, anything that's needed like this with the developmental disorders that they might have. Next, we have speech and language disorders. This is refers to problems with oral motion, motor function. This could be sounds or language or oral motor skills in all. And usually these type of students go to SLPs, which are speech language pathologists. The students tend to have trouble reading and writing. They have trouble being social, making friends, and trouble with voice and fluency of the way they put together sentences. And the causes can be anything from illness, head injury, being born early. It could be family history. It could be any of those. And some ways to teach in the class with speech and language disorders, allowing more time on these assignments because the students aren't going to comprehend as well and might have trouble with the language barrier. Practice communication skills, which vocabulary and games and interactive work that might be online with videos and audio stuff would definitely help to expand and get them to want to read and speak the word out the way that it's given. And then have a seating chart at the beginning of the year, knowing that this is an issue, that where they're close sat, they're able to sit next to you. Next, we have traumatic brain injury and hearing loss, and this is caused from anything from accidents, sports-related, illnesses, many more. And then auditory symptoms for hearing loss would be earaches, dizziness. They can experience all of this stuff. Hearing impairment, fullness of the ears, they might be sensitive to loudness. And then traumatic brain injury could be concussions, cognitive and memory problems, visual loss, emotional behavior problems, headaches. And any of these can be caused. So when a student comes in with these issues, in order to teach them properly, you have to be able to assess them first to see what cognitive, psychological, and physical problems they develop. And then they need to create a structured environment where the workload isn't that much for them, and just decrease the amount of time that they spend in school or on assignments, and make things, provide a classroom that accommodates for them. So supply things like memory games and devices like wheelchair, voice devices, beepers, memory pads, good to take notes and have a journal so that they can kind of try to get their memory to expand and exercise each day in the classroom. Visual impairment and blindness. There's two types. There's low vision and blindness. Braille is needed, obviously, with the blindness if students have. And then there's also the low vision where students can read some words if they're large or magnified. So these kind of students, again, have trouble focusing in school and have poor performance because of this problem. And the needs of these children are needed set up brain breaks for these students, especially because if they're focusing on a piece of paper or notes or a large amount of text, they need to be able to exercise their eyes so that they do not hurt. Literature circles to read together as one instead of giving them, because if they have visual impairments, having being read out loud, they're going to be able to comprehend it better than having to try to read the text and understand. And then providing the right correct materials and things, and it could be noises that are made on a screen or something like that could help when reading as well. The gifted and talent students are the perfectionists. They have high expectations of themselves, and they're problem solvers. For these people, they're overachievers, so it's very important to do individualized work that can expand their thinking, have mentors that can help, higher activities given, give them different worksheets that are a little bit harder than the other students. Those would be great ideas. And then just a summary for all of these disorders that can be used in the classroom are making behavior charts, creating lessons, learning stations, brain breaks, journaling, setting goals, and student-teacher